when we look at feminism, it is grounded on the belief that women are oppressed or disadvantaged in comparison to men. And this is always seen as unjustified or illegitimate. And of course, we also have, different feminists who have different description of what a man or what a woman should be. So today we have 4 guests who will break this down for us. And of course, starting on my right, we have Miss Ayen Pauldring, who's a current journalist who writes for the women's blogs, passionate about climate, and also a lady who looks forward to lead the country someday, of course, with a vision to see peace in the world. And of course, Ajak Ibrahim, who's an IR graduate from USIU Africa, and she's working for Gender 211 and Panda, which is all about women empowerment. She's also a radical feminist, Pan-Africanist, and of course, a post-colonialist who is passionate about liberation of African women. And of course, I'll take you to Miss Rahma Musa Deng, who's a social influencer, supporter of women empowerment, and a family woman. And of course, we have one gentleman here, due to public demand. We have Mr. Queer. First of all, he's an economic and statistics student from P University of Nairobi, and also a radical humanist, a supporter of women empowerment. So we know it will all go great here, and also an advocate of a food-secure society. What is feminism all about?
Basically, feminism, I would say, is a platform where we are fighting for equal rights. I would say equal rights plus equity at the same time. Because if we don't have equity, we don't level the playing field for both men and women. So technically, feminism, we're not just saying give us our rights, but we want to get what we deserve. And what a woman deserves, a man deserves too. It should be a 50-50 kind of environment, and where, we can be seen as equal. That's what I can say.
As a lady, you almost have the same representation. So before I come to you, Jack, I would love to ask Mr. Queer, from your point of view, what is feminism all about?
Thank you, Ambassador Mading, for having me on the show. And I want to take the opportunity to welcome the beautiful ladies around here. It is a pleasure being among these vibrant brains and discussing on feminism today. In my perspective, or the way it is in society, feminism is an advocacy for women's rights. That is a simple term we can say. And maybe those people who are not agreeing with feminism, they will say it is a tendency for women to hate men. It's a platform where men are hated by women, and that is all we can say about. That's what I can say about feminism.
Okay, that's interesting, Madame Jack. When we look at feminism in African context, how do you compare this?
There is feminism in Africa. First of all, feminism is not just equality of women, but it's a movement that seeks to dismantle the patriarchal system that the world has set in place today. So it's dismantling the structures that are there, that patriarchy has set in place, not only because that has subjugated women, but people of different genders and sexes as well. So that's why we include LGBTQ community and so on and so forth. So African feminism, people would say that it doesn't exist, or that African feminism is it's a rebuttal, or it's a counter to Western feminism, which is not true, because feminism, or what we know the definition of feminism to be, was present in Africa way before the Western feminism was there, right? And when we say African feminism, we are not looking at Africa as a country, but rather we know that Africa is an amalgamation of many countries, many regions, many cultures, societies, and we seek to put in place all of that within the 54 geographical borders to encompass all of that and say this is Africa. When we say it's African feminism, we're not saying that what is happening in Uganda is the same as what is happening in South Sudan, but because we share one heritage being African, that's what we look at, and that's what we use to guide us within our feminism.
Wow, interesting. That takes me to you, Rahma, when we're looking at since we are limiting it to Africa. As a family woman, what does it mean to be a woman? What is your role?
So, feminism is actually the women's rights, the theory of politically, like economic and social, everything. And as a family woman, it's not hard to be a woman, but it's just that kind of feeling that they tell you you're not equal as the man because maybe you don't bring anything to the table. All you can do is just take care of the kids, or stay home, clean the dishes, which is very wrong. We can do much better, and I believe that. But here in Africa, I don't know whether it's a belief or it's just a mental thing that married women should just stay home and take care of the kids and do nothing else outside. But I believe there's so much more that a family woman can do.
And what do you think a man? What's a man's role?
A man's role? I don't know. Maybe just he could support me.
As a woman, what do you expect of your man?
For him to be very supportive of anything I want to do. If I want to work, or if I want to stay home, anything, he has to support me. But I don't believe we get the same energy as we give.
Okay, I think what we're getting here, we're really talking about women. So, Mr. Queer, do you think this is a gender war against the male society?
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. And the African understanding of feminism in general is that it is divided into two, in my own perspective. There is a cultural way of looking at feminism. Those people who are still indulged in culture, they will say feminism is something that is trying to make women have more opportunities than men. Those who are in the modern society, like us, for example, we will be able to understand it, and we say opportunities come because in today's world, we are talking about the skills she has. I mean, the skills Lucky has, the skill Ian has, the same to a Jack. So, in the real sense, I don't see if there is a reason why women should be fighting today, because already what they wanted has been granted. In as much as it is not 100%, it is still being granted. So, it should not be something so radical. It's not be something that you have to fight for it. You just have to express and say that I still need this, and you'll be given. Because we African men are giving our women, and we are empowering our women every day.
There's a quote that no oppressed person has ever been given their freedom by asking for it. Therefore, we're not going to get our freedom just from asking for it. We have to fight for it. And it's a fight because from the other side, it is a fight for them to sustain the power, the subjugation, the oppression. So we must fight back. We cannot just ask for it. It is a demand and a struggle, and it's something that is not going to be so pretty and so nice to see, but it's necessary. Women are still suffering today. I mean, women are still subjugated today. I'm not seeing, and that's the same way we can say, like, let's say, for example, South Sudan, we fought for our freedom, but we say we're still not free. So why can't we say that same thing about feminism, that we have been fighting for our freedom, but we're still not free? Yes, we have made great strides within every sector within education, if it's the theorizing of feminism, if it's the physical fighting for it or whatnot, we have made great strides, but there is still so much work to do.
My brother and comrade Mading, you always fight for what you don't have. You cannot fight for what you already have. So that's why I was saying they are no longer fighting. Right now, it is not a fight. It should not be that radical fighting where somebody has to talk loud, somebody has to cry, you have to physically involve yourself. What we are supposed, what I'm looking at is this. When you are looking about, when we are studying about the history of feminism, I am actually an economic student, but I read one time the history of feminism. It came in phases or in waves. The first one, the women never had the right to vote. Mm-hmm. They were asking for that that elective franchise, the one I was saying before, and they were given. In today's world, ladies are voting. They are owning property. It is something that was not there. But the feminists who were there during that time, they were able to advocate for it, and they now have. The second one was equality. The second wave was talking about equality and anti-discrimination. They wanted the discrimination to go away. They were fighting for the discrimination to go. And essentially, we can say that as we speak today, we are having the equal society they were fighting for. Because today we are looking at the skills, like I said earlier. For you, if I and Lucky go right now looking for a job, Lucky has done the same course like I did. I am also qualified for what has already been advertised. I am telling you, they can take Lucky and leave me behind. But those are social in a way. They are not something that men have now decided we are not giving women. That is exactly what women should erase from their minds. It is not a collusion that we are now consolidating our effort and we are saying we are not giving this one women. What we are saying is society has its own structure and there are challenges we all face. Even men, we are facing these challenges. If we are talking about poverty, we have men who are poor and there is nowhere that resources are kept. And then you go and fight them and give them men and leave women. So we are looking at it in form of skills. And when you go to look for a job, you'll be able to be given a job because already you have what it takes. There's nobody who will say, you are a woman, you are not going to get this job. That is the reason why I was saying, already, these people who are fighting for feminism, they are fighting for women's rights. Women's rights are already there. What is missing out right now, Comrade Mading, is that some countries are yet to enshrine those rights in their constitution. And it is something that is going to come by with time.
And why is it taking time?
It is taking time. It is not the only thing that is taking time in some countries. Development is taking time. If we are talking about South Sudan, we are not going to talk about women's rights being violated. There is no right that is not being violated.
Okay, I'll stop you there.
I would like to disagree with our brother here, Mr. Queer, saying we already have what we wanted. As Mr. Jack said, it's a movement. We don't expect it to be right now, not today, but we are still not going to stop fighting for it. I'll give an example like South Sudan. Women were only having 25%. It's recently that we are fighting for the 10%, which I think they might consider, but we're not even sure they will consider the 35% affirmative action. Do you feel, as women, we deserve only 35%? As a man, if it's about being fair and giving us what we want, is 35% enough? How much representation do we have? I'm not just talking about political arenas. As you were saying, things like CEOs. How many companies do you go? Probably the CEO or CEO or the top managing director is a woman. Because they feel we're inadequate, they will say things like, we're emotional, we're incapable of leading, you don't know these things. I would say that because I'm sure as women, who are sitting here, we've received that firsthand. And coming from a family of only boys, I will tell you I've had to struggle a lot, being a woman, that I have to fight for my right. Like, I deserve it, because he's saying that the women have already been given what they wanted. But we want more. That's what we are about. We want more. How about we can get 5 people who want to be presidential, candidates? Why do you give us 1? You say, okay, the women deserve 1. We have 5 vice presidents. We only have 1 lady. Why? Are we not capable enough of being represented out there? And she talked about things like empowerment, how we're having period poverty. Periods is natural. We don't ask for it. You're born with it, you have to go through it. Why are we having to fight for a girl child to be given free sanitary towels? That is something that should already be there. Oh, as a girl child, they deserve this, they deserve this. Why should we have to buy them? Why should we have to go for campaigns? But that's something that men have ignored for the longest time. If you go to our communities, a boy wouldn't even want to know his sister is undergoing through a period. He would not even go to the supermarket or to the clinic to buy her a pad.
Don't you think it's based on how they've been brought up?
That's what we're trying to do now. We're trying to expand this whole rationality. It's not just cultural. When we raise these cultural things, where we make it free, like a boy can ask the sister, what's going on? The sister said, I just had my first period. If he was taught to be free enough and be gentle with his sister, because this is your sister. Nobody can love and embrace your sister more than you. You don't expect a stranger to come and help your sister out. So these are basic things that I expect even the boy child to be involved. For me, for feminism to actually make sense, we need men to be there.
So you believe also culture is a limitation to feminism?
Exactly. It's very, very limited, especially from the cultures that we come from, most African cultures. It makes it so difficult. And that's why she's saying we have to fight. As she was saying, nothing is handed to you on a silver platter. I have to come and show you that I deserve it. And me deserving it means I have to fight day and night. I have to hold campaigns. We have to shout if it's possible. We will cry if you want us to cry. We are still going to be heard if that's the only way it's going to take. Because we come from a very male-dominated society. And that kind of society hinders so many things as a female child.
I do not want a situation where my ladies here are making it look like it is men that gives.
Yes.
In this society, we are put to struggle. If the struggle meets you and you have the capacity, you just struggle and you get it. When we are coming about the resources, they are not kept. I will repeat that. They are not kept somewhere, and it is men that give so and so. She was asking about the question, why is it that we are not having female presidents? Mm-hmm. You see now, the question that we are supposed to ask is that how many female presidents, aspirants, that come out every presidential elections? If we answer that question, we will be able to answer why they are not having more females who are presidents. Okay. For example, in the last election in this country, how many women were vying for presidency?
There's something called corruption.
There was no woman in the ballot for presidency. They were vying for other positions, but not for presidency. So it should not come out like you are asking us, why is it that we are having 1 vice president and not 5? Mm-hmm. Maybe what they are supposed to question is the issue of 35%. I also agree, because we also agree, like I said, we have to empower our women. It is something that every man wants.
Do you feel it should be 35? Why 35 and not 50-50?
You know,
because when you say equal,
yes,
equal has to be
yes.
50-50.
Yes. You know, when you are building a gorofa, a story building, we begin with the foundation.
True.
So we cannot begin with 70
yes.
when they were at 25. She said they were at 25. So it has to come from 25 to somewhere that is reasonable.
Okay.
Then from that reasonable, it goes up to when it will come to 50.
Reasonable for who?
Reasonable for everybody, including them.
No.
Because even if we say today, that we want 50% women in the government, where are they?
Why can't we
here.
have? We are
We-
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 they're
we-
there.
You want
Okay,
me, you want us to go and pick our wives at
No.
home
Okay.
without interest?
Okay, Rahma.
You have to show interest
Where
for
the
you
fif-
to go
where
somewhere.
the 50% of women?
We're here. They never see us. They never see the women who have actually the courage and everything. Only jobs they give us the secretaries, mopping the floors. These small jobs. We don't deserve that. When you say equal, we have to have 50-50, not 35 and 65 or 75.
But do you believe, like he says, we have to start from somewhere?
We
Because
can
I believe
also-
at some point in certain African societies, there was 0% of even women leading.
Yeah.
Do you think it's something that can be appreciated before making it to that point?
Yes,
Definitely.
it's it's
So we
something
can
that's
say something is
appreciated.
working.
But when you say we just giving us 35%, that's not
No,
enough.
can we say though, because we are comparing it to the past, do you feel
That's the past.
there is
Now
a change happening?
Now
we're
we're here.
talking over 35%. Do you believe the change is gradual?
Yeah, I believe.
I will not clap because we were given peanuts. The 35 we were supposed to have, it's not even supposed to be 35. It's supposed to be 50. According to the African Union, 50-50 gender parity, that all African nations have signed and said that we are going to have 50% of women in all governmental sectors.
But
And we are not only spotlighting South Sudan,
Yes.
just because the other 54 or 53 African countries did not do so doesn't mean it's okay. You know, just because it's a status quo does not give it the legitimacy. They signed, nobody forced them to sign and say that we're going to implement this 50-50 gender parity. But they signed it, and it is their right, it is their responsibility as nations, as people who have signed on to international treaties, to implement those international treaties. They're not there for decoration. They're supposed to be there for a reason. So we don't even have our 35%. We are fighting for a 35%, a minute percent of what we were actually supposed to get. So imagine, you're telling us we got our 35%. Not that we even got it, we fought for it. There were women
That's
who
the
were
word.
fighting for it to the point where people had to sign the treaty.
And then
But we didn't even get the 35%. And there are so many reasons as to why women are not represented in politics. As you said before, if you guys go to a job interview, she will be picked. That is statistically, it's not right, because her virtue of being a woman, people will say, oh, she's either going to have her period, so she's not going to be as efficient as the man. She's going to get pregnant, so
Or
she's
maybe-
we're going to have to look for another person or whatnot. So that's why
or maybe he's
they-
even looking at me in a way like attractively.
Yes.
Yes.
To use you.
Yes, so that's why women are statistically not chosen for positions, employment. You know, you can't say that women are the ones going to be chosen more. No, that's not. Statistics doesn't uphold that. You know, the same way women are not represented in politics. There are barriers, even in the grassroots levels. Those small, even the youth movements. Let's see how many youth movements in South Sudan have implemented not a gender equality, because there's a difference between gender equality and feminism. How many have implemented a feminist approach to their youth movements? None. There's no. Anna Taban has not done so. It's only Gender Talk 211 that has incorporated feminism into its scheme. So how many, even at the grassroots, at the youth level even, and then you can go up, the National Democratic Movement, SPLM, IO, all those political parties, how many have implemented feminist approaches and feminist whatever to their scheme? They haven't. On top of that, women are told your place is in the kitchen and in the house to take care of kids. They said that men were fighting for freedom, right? And then women were at home.
Is that not true?
Yeah,
But
that's what they were saying. That they say that the men were the ones who were fighting for freedom, so they deserve the positions that they have today.
But Mr. Jack, just to also come back to the point, you talk about various groups and organizations which haven't implemented. But let's look at the politics at large in terms of nomination, things that involve people electing. And that's why I brought up the question of Why don't we have a woman coming up as an as a presidential aspirant with the hope that since we are a majority of women, I'll be picked, and I believe there'll also be a percentage of men who will pick. So
Because of
why
ground
is it that women?
Because there's so
this
much
is
ground
nomination.
influence.
I don't believe that as if you wanted to become a president in South Sudan, it's illegal. It's not.
It's not illegal.
Based on
It
the
is
law,
not.
it is not.
It's not
And it
illegal,
will
but
never
what
be.
are the chances? Statistically, what are the chances?
No
How many
chances.
women in Africa have we had who are heads of state? How many?
So what
Even
is
the
what-
ones that we have, like let's say in Ethiopia, when the president is a woman.
Yes.
But when we look at how political systems work, Ethiopia, the person who calls the shots
Prime
is the prime
Minister.
minister.
Yeah,
So the
she's
president is
ceremonial-
just
ceremonial.
yes,
She's a
you
face.
get it.
Yeah,
They,
and
they
it
don't
is not
even,
because
they don't
but-
even
but-
consider the president.
But
mostly.
we're still not answering the question. Why aren't women? Why don't they go for this nomination?
First of all, because women are told they're not supposed to be in politics.
So just because
it
you're
starts
told-
within
the
society.
background influence
Let me
in
tell
home and
you, one
everywhere.
of the things that patriarchy has done so well was to convince women
They're not
where,
good enough.
where their place is
Is the
supposed to
kitchen.
be. There are those women who actually believe I'm less than a man. I don't belong in politics. So women also uphold that notion. It's not just men. And that's why it works so well. That's why patriarchy has worked so well, because women believe if they see other women running for presidency, they'll say, oh, you're not supposed to. This is out of line, you know? And then there are those people, but the systems that are in place, the number of seats, if we go and check each political party, how many women are there compared to men? Are we sure that these men that are the majority within these political movements are going to be able to give or to nominate or to choose these women,
And back
you know,
them up.
and back them up?
Okay, maybe.
And then not only politics, we less than this show us we're less in everywhere. Not only president and running a country or blah blah blah. No, they just show us we're not good at maybe home, we're not good at office, we're not good at everywhere. We anything we can do. Negativity, influence, background. Even sometimes the parents tells you a woman should not do this, a man can do this. Even educating girls who are staying home while male.
Why do you feel a woman, like for example, your mother would tell you that you should be doing things in
Because
this
of
way?
the background, ancestral, whatever.
So
like
women are also
history
a part
and
of the
history.
problem, perhaps.
Is
Because I
the
believe
way,
it's
you know,
women who teach. I believe, for example, for me, when I go to the kitchen, I'm told I shouldn't be in the kitchen, not by my father, but my own mother. So do you
Yes,
believe
because of-
also women are a part of blocking this equality?
No, I don't believe
Because
so.
how did you end up knowing that you should be in the kitchen? I believe it was not a man.
It's from the father, from the man. The man tells
I mean-
the mother that your
Like-
daughter should
like
be in
what
the
I
kitchen.
said.
Okay. What do you have to say about that?
I think my ding ding is making a lot of sense. In
A
a
lot of
way,
sense.
he's not. Yes, it's good to weigh both options. I think that's where you can come to a conclusion. Him asking Rahma, who told you you belong in the kitchen? It's a woman.
It's a woman.
I would say in our.
And I'll still
I
say
would say
it's
in
from
our
the
case.
father.
I would
Okay.
say in
From the
our
man.
case.
Okay, I'll hear your side.
I would say
Yeah.
in our case, she probably has an educated mother. So do you. So do I.
Um,
They are the ones who encouraged you that you can be something beyond the kitchen. You can be whatever you want to be. So as she was saying, it comes from the cultural grassroots. I would say it's from the grassroots. But I feel we shouldn't dwell on it. The fact that, the men say we're not good enough. But
You know-
now that we've come out of the shell and we're saying we're good enough.
it's now, before,
And now that we're-
education was not there.
Now that we're
Men-
saying we're good enough,
Men
what's
could tell,
stopping us?
you know,
Because what I'm thinking, a man will always endorse a man, a fellow man,
Yes.
regardless. But there's a little bit of truth in what he said.
it's very
Because
correct.
if I say, let me be the flag bearer of SPLM, let me say, and let me say we have female parliamentarians or other people within the political party who want to endorse me. Some will not endorse me. Some will endorse me. And when we start
Even-
there, we already
even-
have, my dear, from there we already have a division. And
It's
the minute
the
we are
same,
divided,
both
the
name,
man
both gender.
has the
If-
power already.
You can't
Hold
tell me
on.
all men support you.
Did you come to politics? I didn't like some questions that our women are asking.
What are
Like,
these questions you did?
one question is, how many women are in a political party? For example, they were asking you. And sincerely
But they're
speaking,
less.
sincerely speaking,
Uh-huh.
these are decisions that originate from individuals. For a woman to be in a political party, it is not something we just go and tell people, you must be here. It is not a work of men for women to be less in political parties. Why? Because these political parties, the status is they are ever open to anybody, regardless of the gender, regardless of the race, and even the economic status. These ones are ever open to everybody. And so, this is a question they are not supposed to be asking men. They are supposed to ask themselves, why is it that we as women, including educated ladies like the ones I have, they are not able to subscribe to political parties? Because we have seen the way politics is driven. You must come from somewhere, such as a political party. So, they are not going to pick my wife at home. Are you getting that? Or my sister, who does not belong to a certain political parties. First of all, in order to see yourself in these politics that we are seeing today, you want to get your number high, join political parties. Join them. They are open to women. They are educated women like them. Let them join, and leave the other one. Talking about the Ethiopia having a ceremonious president. Sincerely speaking, that is a position that can be ceremonious even when it is a man there.
Okay, I see.
Let us
See
understand
your point,
the ceremonious behind it. That is a position that is ceremonious. It is not the person in it. So whether today the position of presidency shift to a man in Ethiopia,
It will be still
it will still be ceremonious. So it is not something that women are trying to, it's not something that men are trying to make so that they disadvantage women. It is a position in the constitution. If they need powers, let them be elected to be prime ministers. For example, in Ethiopia, they are going to shine, just like Mr. Abiy, the prime minister of Ethiopia. Mm-hmm. That is exactly that. When it comes to the patriarchy that Ajak has been talking about, I am telling you, these may have been designs that were initially designed by men at the initial state. But as we speak, the woman is also having the opportunity to dismantle it. But now the question is, why are they not dismantling it? They have the opportunity and they are not doing that. Why am I saying that?
No.
It is not the man to be blamed for the patriarchy that is in the society, Ambassador Mading, if we have to be honest. Because in our
being
culture,
honest is
there
giving
are
the
men,
other partner
there are men,
50%
there are men,
of everything.
just like there are women who are also blessing patriarchy. A woman will tell just like you ask her very well, a woman will tell the daughter, my daughter, make sure you cook for your brother. And the brother is there doing nothing in the house. So it is not the man that is telling you to cook for your brother, it is your mother.
And the mother was
And it's a
told by
woman.
the father.
Now,
Yes.
it was something in the past. Now it is the present.
It still continues
Ladies,
in some.
I want to request you, instead of dwelling with what was put in the past, you are now saying it was done in the past, so you cannot leave it, because it is something that was done in the past.
Okay.
No,
You
it
have the
continues.
opportunity.
It continues.
Okay.
You have
Okay.
the opportunity, and I am happy that the generation we are having today, we have many women who are educated.
But that doesn't mean we
it is
left the other
education,
generation behind.
Ambassador Mading, if it is education that comes with the freedom, with this emancipation of bondages they are in, we are sure in 2, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years time, we are going to dissolve the movement of feminism, because the movement is only relevant when it is giving, when the results are effective. We will have nothing that women are going to fight for.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they will receive everything.
Okay.
Everything
Can I
is
say
good.
something?
Okay.
Don't just take it as you're being fed feminism. and you just take it down your throat. Sometimes you need to really think it through before you can have a stand. I would say things like rape, all these things that are accused most of the time where men are accused, I take it very sensitively because sometimes I feel okay, we've reached a point where we're just, because they're men, they've reached to a point where women are just pushing the agenda, oh, it's against the men. But for me, I consider it where it makes sense. And that's why when people ask me, I won't say I'm completely a feminist, because I would say we understand it differently.
Okay.
Can I give a quote by my feminist queen, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie? She says, feminism is like pregnancy. You either are or you're either not. So you can't be in the...
I'm not going to say...
You can't be in the middle. It's either you stand for equality or you don't stand for equality.
Okay.
There's no...
No. I need to understand, where do you differ in matters feminism? Because I think there is the problem. I mean, you differ somewhere. That's
yes,
why you talk
differ
of partly,
somewhere because...
Which is what? What is this that you differ in? Because like a Jack says, you are either or not. So
I'm not going to say
what is
I
it that
am
you
a
don't?
feminist.
Okay, why? Yet feminism is all about equality.
50-50.
She
Yeah,
didn't
50-50.
for women.
I
For
don't
women.
have to...
No,
for men and
so
women.
it's gender and
mean
sex.
gender,
You don't believe
we don't
when we
actually
talk about
equal
gender,
to you
we have the
guys?
gay, we have the lesbian, we have the transgender.
Exactly. So
We
I
don't
am
know
asking,
who
where
exists.
do you differ? Because it's all about equality.
Yes.
Where do you differ then?
Right now, it's women and men equality.
It's equality.
not
So
about,
where do you differ?
this,
Because I believe everyone should be a feminist if it's all
I
about
think
equality.
Ayen is making a point. Can I help her?
No,
It's not
do
even
you
about
want
helping.
it? Do you want
I don't
to
want
pass it?
No, it will
I want her point
pass
home.
to all of us.
No,
I want her
pass
point
to all
home.
of us.
Oh, I want to come to
And,
Rahma.
you telling me am I a feminist or not doesn't mean that I don't care about women. I'll tell you I'm not a feminist. It doesn't mean I don't care for women.
Okay.
It does not mean that.
So one doesn't have to be a feminist.
You don't have
to fight for women.
Yes,
Be a feminist.
you don't have to be a
Thank you.
feminist to
Do
fight
you
for
agree
women.
that as a radical
You don't
feminist?
have to
Thank
be
you.
one.
You would agree because you're a cis heterosexual
I
man.
agree.
So I
Completely.
believe that people want to shy away from that thing, that label of feminism. Why don't we try to focus more on the definition? Feminism, what is it? The equality of genders and sexes. It's either you agree with it or you don't.
It don't matter where
People
you belong.
people
which,
name
type of
movements according to the need that
Is
they're
it
at, and that's what Chimamanda also tells us. Pan-Africanism movement was named after what? Why didn't they say a pan-world movement? No, because they were shedding light on that particular problem. So feminist movement was focusing on what problem? There you go. So why is it that people have a problem with the name but not the fight that they are fighting for?
But why
So
do you have a
Rahma.
problem with someone not taking the
Not
name?
taking-
No.
What is
Because
the problem with it?
no.
Yes, because
There's
Let
no
me-
way.
let me-
There's no
The
way.
problem
You'll
asking
be
that
in
too.
this
No.
and this,
Let
and
me-
you
It's
don't
not
even
saying that you're on
understand
both sides
yourself.
of
No.
the gate. It's not putting your feet on both sides of the fence.
Okay.
It
It
is.
is not. It is
Okay,
not.
Rahma,
It
Rahma,
is.
let
Me
ask
fighting
you
for
this.
women doesn't mean I'll watch a woman get oppressed and keep quiet about it.
Then
It
then why
doesn't.
do you
It
have
does
a
not
problem?
make
Okay,
me not
let me-
feminist.
let me
You're
do
not a
this.
feminist.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm not
you.
one.
Okay,
Parents
guys.
then.
Okay,
But
let
I
me- let me-
believe women still deserve their rights that they want to, and that they voice out. It doesn't
right.
mean
You
I'm
are right.
less of
You are very
what
right.
you're fighting
Okay.
for.
Of course.
You
A minute.
agree with that because
No,
you're
it's
just
not
against
about
No,
that.
just a
everything.
minute. Rahma, yeah? Are you a feminist?
Pandani je, jinum na dik pandai tinja.